Hey, this is Margaret Gill and welcome to the Top 10 Speaking Tips. Today we are going to be looking at write your talk at least a week before the event. At least a week before the event. And I'll tell you why. It's because the gremlins get at it. And you would be surprised sometimes when you look at what you've written and you go, this is so off topic, it's not funny. But if you do it the night before and you're getting in the car early in the morning and all of that stuff, you are revving up a recipe for disaster. One of the things that I have learned in going out speaking is you have to be very, very organized. And the trick is to get organized well ahead of time. So if you're one of those people that leave everything to the last minute, don't think you can do this if you're going out speaking. You'll need to get organized. And writing your talk is the thing that you will procrastinate over the most. So why not get it out of the way early? Just put a little diary date for yourself about a month out from the event and sit down and decide what you're going to do, what you're going to talk about, how you're going to approach it. If you've got a PowerPoint to do, we'll start putting your PowerPoint together and then just leave it for a bit. Leave it for a little while. Say a week, then go back to it and have another look. Now, well done if you have managed to nail it the very first time, but I will bet you that you'll have things that you've thought about during the week, so just make little notes in your notepad as things come to you. Go, oh, actually, that'd really be really good if I add this topic in as well. And you'll start to find that you probably have too much to talk about, but that's okay. We can cull that little bit out later. So go back in about a week's time from the initial time that you wrote the talk and go back and go through it with a fine-tooth comb and look at the topic you're speaking on and decide, is it the topic that they are expecting me to talk about? And I know that sounds a bit silly, but sometimes we can get off topic really quickly. We get excited and we go, oh, we'll just talk about this and this and oh, that and that. But it's not actually what you agreed to talk about. And you're going to have a very angry host if they have booked you to talk about one thing and you turn up and you go completely off topic in the first 5 minutes. So it's important that you stay on track with what you're presenting. Now, the other thing that you need to do is start practicing a week out. And you're, oh, can't I just run through it the day before I go? No, you can't. Well, you can as you get better at it. But as you get better at it, you'll realize why you need to be able to start practicing earlier. But get your talk written. Let the worms get at it. Let the gremlins get at it, because you'll be just surprised what gets in there. You'll even be surprised what gets into your PowerPoints. You might think that you've done a really good job of your PowerPoints, only to find out they're actually full of spelling mistakes and things like that. Better to get them out a couple of weeks before the event has gone. And then in another week's time, just pull it out and have another little look as well. And then the week of the talk, do the same thing. Maybe not too close to the event, because what can happen is you can get too familiar with your topic. And that's not good either. You can be over-prepared, and in that instance, what happens is you get up on stage and you can't remember a single thing because your brain's just so dead on stuff that it goes, oh, let's forget the whole thing. So you can over-prepare, but my best advice is get in there and get the thing done. Stop procrastinating. Procrastination is not a good thing in speaking. If you're a procrastinator, that's going to be your biggest thing to get over. It's not going to be getting on stage. It's going to be getting over doing your prep, because you cannot leave the house in a stressed condition. And if you do leave things to the last minute, that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up leaving the house to do your talk in a stressed out condition. Now, have you ever noticed when you do that, you end up in a traffic jam, you've forgotten to put petrol in the car, all of those things haven't been done, and you end up just on time or slightly late, and that's ugly. You need to be at the venue well before you are due to be at the venue. Worst case scenario, you can sit in the car and have a little practice of your talk, Or you can go to a nice cafe and have a nice relaxing beverage of your choice. Don't make it alcohol because it will dry your voice out. But have a nice little beverage, a nice little bit of quiet time, and front up as that confident person that you wish to present to your audience. If you show up and you're stressed and you're late and things aren't going well, all hell will break loose in the room, because the room takes on your energy. Funnily enough, any of you that know about energy will understand why that happens. So if you turn up in a rested and relaxed and focused state, most of the room will be like that. And sometimes things are just out of your control. I remember one event that I spoke at. I got there well early and there was not many people there, but they were standing outside the door. And I'm like, this is unusual. Normally there's somebody there unpacking the afternoon or tea or something like that. Something's going on. The kettle's being put on, and you can always tell there's a little huddle and there's worrying going on. And it turned out that nobody had the key to the venue. Everybody thought the other people had the key to the venue, but on the day, nobody had the key. And somebody had to go and get the key. And that was just completely out of my control. And it was full on. Once those doors got opened, of course, everybody was stressed and everybody was trying to set up. And that meant me as a speaker, I was on my own. So I was putting my own tables up and putting my own little thing that I needed at the back of the stage to put my papers on and stuff. I had to do all of that myself. Now, had I been in a stressed state as well, that would have just led to more and more and more and more stress. And you don't want to be stressed when you go on stage. One of the greater tips is have a little bit of quiet time before you find somewhere. And the toilet is generally a good place if there's nowhere else. Just a little bit of quiet time just to center yourself and get really calm and into the mood of the room. And if the room is busy like that, it's extra important that you are the calm and the one that's in control, because once you hit that stage, you are actually in control of the room. Doesn't matter who else is there. Once you're on stage, you're it. And this is why preparation is so important, and it's why I say write your talk or prepare your PowerPoints at least a month out, and be just taking a little look at them as you're going up to the event, just having a little bit of a look over them, making sure that, because have you ever noticed that when you do put spellos into a document that they jump out at you 2 weeks later? They're like, hello, here we are. We thought you would miss us, but you haven't. Here we are. Look. And you go, how did I spell that word like that? And there's a big red line under it where the spell checker's got it as well. You just missed it the first time because you've become too familiar with the content. And yeah, so really speaking is about being very, very organized. I got myself down to quite a routine with checklists and things like that. I used to take the husband along. That's one of those pull-along trolley things that the tradies use. And it was coined by my friend who saw this little trolley thing. A lot of people have them too that they use for craftware, the little things on wheels, but this is like full on, and it's got all sorts of little sections in it and bits, and it's made of really, really tough, sturdy material as well that you can just chuck in the car. And I have all sorts of things in there. I have little checklists for it to make sure that I don't forget anything. And one of the things that got in there was a can of CRC that one of my people bought for me. Best thing ever. Squeaky doors are a real problem in when you're talking. The door goes, and if you're the person that notices that before the event starts, say the kitchen door's going every time that somebody walks through it, you can just get your little can of CRC and just spray the hinges and it stops it. There's many distractions that you can stop by being a little bit organized. So and each time you speak in the early days, you'll find something new to add to your must-have list. Must have with the husband. And I also have a little speaking kit that has pens and pencils and all of the things that I give, all my give outs and things like that are in that little box. That just stays there. That never gets unpacked. And if you don't unpack it, you know that it's always going to be ready, but it does also have the little checklist so that I can just make sure that the key things that I need are in there. So you'll start to see why preparation is so important, and then practice, practice and practice until you think you've got it right, and then practice a little bit more. Don't over practice the week going up to it, but do practice your talk a lot. And the lovely thing about that is when you get really familiar with your material, it means that at any given time, somebody has a speaker that cancels, that the speaker gets sick, and they go, who can I ask? And they go, oh, let's just ring up Mary. You're Mary. Hi, Mary. We're in a bit of a panic. Our speaker for the night is cancelled. Can you come? And you look over at your beautiful little setup. You've got all of your stuff there. You've got a talk that's well prepared and well rehearsed. And you go, yes, of course I can come and do that for you. And that's where we want you to be. We want you to be that person that appears to the world like you are super organized and the go-to girl. You don't have to be. I'm not that person, but I've made myself that person because I understand speaking needs that. So there you are. I hope that has helped for today. Leave me some love down below. Write a little comment if it's been helpful. And I look forward to hearing you and seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, just get out there and be remarkable. Bye now.